James Green is here with us now for our Daily Dose of Media Watch.
That's right.
Good to see you,
Good evening,
James.
Laura.
Should we talk about that other forum that is going on in the world right now? I am, of course, talking about the World Economic Forum in Davos.
Yes.
And Donald Trump makes a splash most places he goes, and Davos is no different.
That's right. And so just some of the initial reactions now that he's touched down in Switzerland. There was that dramatic arrival. He was in a helicopter with flanked by 6 other helicopters, no doubt, and it did.
It's quite an entrance, isn't it?
It's a pretty impressive entrance. It beats most entrances, I would say. And you had various media commenting on that. This is the Daily Mirror from the UK calling it Trumpocalypse.
Thank
you. Now, a reference to the movie. Watch Donald Trump's arrival at Davos summit in 7 helicopters. Indeed, it is a bit reminiscent of Apocalypse Now. This is the Huffington Post French edition's taken it. Who is the strongest? And I guess that might have figured in the decision to arrive in 7 helicopters. Now, some had, of course, decided to make him feel a little bit less than welcome, and this was one sign that had been unfurled around the mountains around Davos. Somebody braving the snow there to get up and unfurl that. And indeed, this was in the last 24 hours. Zurich has a message for Trump spelled out in candles at his arrival. No major protests, obviously security at a premium.
There are rarely any protests around Davos. That's why they hold it up a mountain, isn't it?
That's it, indeed. The highest town in Europe, far away from everywhere.
Yep.
Now, Trump in Davos seeks to mend strained ties with Britain. So that is one of the priorities of the trip. And indeed, The Guardian picking up on their live blog there on the fact that May and Trump did discuss a working visit to London. And
because relations are reportportedly pretty bad, aren't they?
That's it.
Possibly at an all-time low.
That's it. And
Donald Trump, not
a working visit is not a
state.
Is not a state visit. It means that it wouldn't have all the trimmings. A visit to Buckingham Palace.
He has been offered a state visit, but we don't know yet if he's going to take her up on that.
Right. And the Lib Dems have been calling Trump dangerous, misogynistic, racist, and deserving of the protests he will undoubtedly face. So there you go. It doesn't look like he's going to get
They're not happy about
very
it,
warm visit any time soon. The first piece of information coming out of that is his references to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, saying that he would be open to re-entering it under substantially better terms. I just thought I'd finish with this tweet vis-a-vis Trump. Have fun selling your protectionist garbage to an audience of globalists. I think that pretty much sums it up, apart from the editorialising of the use of the word garbage. But indeed, his policies are economic nationalism.
Well, he's about America first.
That's it.
And this is about globalisation, global capitalism.
This is about doing away with borders and having a kind of a global economic space. So certainly it's...
Which must be hard for some of the
oranges.
protesters, because they're against globalism, aren't they? But
Right.
they're also against Donald Trump.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Creative-
Some people maybe are getting a bit of
creative
confusion.
slogans required.
Yes, they've got to get creative, haven't they? And it's not just protesters and journalists criticising Donald Trump for going to Davos. The first American president since Clinton, it has to be said. Clinton went in 2000. Macron. It's had a dig, hasn't it?
A lot of them have had a dig. There was Merkel, there was
Brave man.
there was Macron, but who made a dig yesterday about the whole global warming issue and the fact that Trump has pulled out of the Paris Accord. But something kind of interesting on Macron's 50-minute marathon speech yesterday, which was delivered first in English and then he moved on to French. Actually, it was pretty much not the same speech at all. And Quartz picked up on this. Emmanuel Macron is a different president when he speaks English and not French. Now, so to sort of sum it
They say
up...
people have different personalities in different languages, don't they?
They do.
I know you do when you slip into French.
Maybe a little bit. But this was very, what would you say, this was very premeditated and scripted. So for essentially Macron, when he was speaking in English, it was all about the lowering of the labour costs and capital costs, flexibility, the fact that France is a great place to invest in. So this was an appeal.
That was in English.
That was in English.
Those things don't go down so well in French.
That's right. So in French, he focused much more on equitable growth, the need to build a sustainable economy and fighting tax evasion. So it was very different themes in French for a home audience and English for an international audience, according to Quartz's reading of things. And indeed, Huffington Post UK picked up on it there with those images.
And very quickly, because we're running out of time, the woman who many people hope might replace Donald Trump in 2020, that's not going to happen. Oprah Winfrey is not going to run.
That's right. She has announced that it's not going to happen. With this quote to InStyle magazine, I've always felt very secure and confident with myself in knowing what I could and could not do. Essentially, it's not in my DNA. Oprah says Nopra. Nopra is now a hashtag if you want to go and check that one out online. And it's, we were seeing headlines like this. This is the Perez Hilton blog online. Yes, I am running her plan to win the presidency. They were the sort of headlines we were seeing. And as Perez Hilton said, I mean, if Life and Style was reporting it, it's official. And now it's officially not true. So there you go.
Well, she wouldn't be
to Oprah.
First person to say she's not running and then run. Politicians do tend to do that, don't they?
This is true.
She's not a politician,
That's
so
true.
who knows?
Nicolas Sarkozy did it a few times. He flip-flopped.
Yes.
It kind of makes a buzz, headlines.
Playing with the crowd. James, thank you very much indeed. James
Thanks,
Creedon with Media Watch. Well, we're taking a very short break here on France 24. Don't go away. Much more still to come.